Hello and welcome back to part 2. So here we go again, we're going to watch another video. We're going to be looking at it at Buzzfeed and feminism yet again and see what it's like. So far, to recap along the last video, Buzzfeed portrayed men in a way that was kind of rather aggressive. You know, the way they used language and tone kind of put men in a bad place and everything, and it wasn't very good. And it was as if they kind of had labelled their own opinions and kind of their hatred, to an extent, towards men as feminism. So we're going to have a look at another video. This one is Man Sees His Girlfriend's Period Blood for the First Time. This is one of the 38 videos that they've made. So let's jump right into it and see what it's about.
I'm here to show my boyfriend what a bloody pad looks like. I've had my period for about 11 years, and that's roughly 2,600 used menstrual products that I've had in my lifetime.
Alright. This is a fair point. That actually is something that a lot of countries and that need to deal with. And that's about sanitary health, and because it's a large cost that women have to deal with, and there's a lot of different ways that it's being talked about and handled. Some places are making them free for distribution. Some other places are using more environmentally friendly materials because it's such a great cost and such a great amount that's used. And that's actually definitely something that needs to be dealt with. You know, looking at tampons and pads and whatnot.
And how many do you estimate Stephen has seen?
Steve has seen maybe 6, if I did a good job of hiding them.
This is something that, 20 seconds into it, this is something that I've now got that's a problem. Because you've got to remember that this is sanitation. And so for him to see 6 and that, you know, you'd hope that you wouldn't really see that many because it is a sanitary product. You know, you wouldn't wave around, you know, tissues that you've used, you know, and after you've like gone to the bathroom and that, you wouldn't like go and show everyone. And so for her to say that, oh, as if I've hidden it, as if it's kind of this taboo type thing. And that she has to hide it through fear and embarrassment. I would say actually you would just dispose of it and get rid of it through kind of sanitary respect in a way, because it would be unhygienic to leave them around and whatnot. Okay, so at this point she goes out of the room, she removes the pad. For sanitary reasons, and again this links back to the reason why she had to hide it, you know, throughout her life and that, is because it is sanitary reasons, and so she puts it in a sealed plastic bag. Alright?
So this is a pad from sort of the end of my period, so I'd say it's a little bit of a lighter flow. Should I show it?
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright, here we go.
Enjoy.
Alright. This is it?
That's it. That's a light day.
Oh God! Oh my God! Just kidding. I'm kidding. Come on.
Really?
Okay. I mean,
I think this is the peak of the video. This is what I don't get about this video. You have this title, Man Sees Girlfriend's Period Blood for the First Time. You have a whole minute 24 of building up. You know, she's hidden it her whole life. It's such a big problem. And then she gives him what is a relatively clear pad. You know, if you're trying to make a statement, surely you would have something that's almost dripping in blood to an extent. You know, because the point here is, well, that's the thing. If you have something as light as this, and generally what is as anticlimactic, what are you trying to state? You know, what's the point you're trying to make? He's totally alright about it, and it's almost underwhelming. Because a lot of people, I think it's kind of maybe over emphasized this kind of, separation and segregation between men's and women's health, that men are kind of adverse to all these sanitary ideas. But a lot of people, although it is a taboo, a lot of people are actually kind of open on that, and that's a new kind of thing with today's society, and that is becoming more liberal. People generally are more open and will accept it, and I think this video shows it very well. But I think what this video lacks is to make its point. With this massive build-up, it's very underwhelming for her to have, quite frankly, what is perhaps just one tiny drop of blood.
Sad how, like, when I first got my period, how ashamed I was feeling about it, because guys used to give me shit for tampons and pads didn't even have blood on them. Like, I would have to, like, subtly hide it in my shirt when I went to the bathroom. I just think that's so weird when it's such a natural thing that we go through.
She makes a good point there. I'll give her that, because it is, a lot more people now, I suppose, are open, but it is still a taboo.
I'm very relieved that Steve's handled it so maturely.
What I learned through this actually had less to do with the pad itself than learning what your thoughts were like going into it, that you have been more uncomfortable than I even realized.
Okay. So all in all, this video, obviously it's one of the 38, it's one of the overkills. So what basically it comes down to, again, in a kind of tonal way, like the last video, it kind of puts men in a bad place. It kind of imagines them as kind of being immature, because she's very surprised how he acts towards it and everything. He kind of, and it's interesting as well, because it's almost like, does it put women as well in an uncomfortable position? Because in this video they show a very light pad that's not got much blood on it. So and a lot of women do have their periods differently. Some people have it extremely painfully and go through a very hard time when they have their periods, and have a lot of physical pain and have a lot of blood loss. Through the comments here, and we've got this is an interesting one. Been with my fiance for 3 years, been engaged for 1 year. He will not and will never see a bloody pad of mine. It's not necessary. He knows what I go through, and that's all that needs to be said. I think that's interesting. I think this goes back to kind of the sanitary side of this, which I think is probably the main point with this video, is that there's some things that I think perhaps don't need to be seen, and that we can understand through a different way. If you've got someone like a fiance, wife, girlfriend, or even just a normal friend who has a period, you can understand what they go through and that without actually seeing it. And you can understand kind of women's health, you can understand kind of what women go through by talking to them and that, without actually needing to see their blooded pads. So I think it does. I think it deals with periods in perhaps not a great way. I think it could have been better done, quite frankly. Talking about perhaps what the actual rather painful side of what a lot of people have, and I think this deals with it in quite a lightweight manner. Because there is a lot of problems that, as we've said, girls go through in that, and this one kind of skips over that. So yeah, and there we have it. That's our final Buzzfeed video that we're looking at. Buzzfeed is a plague to feminism, and it's destroying it. Why? Well, the way it portrays men is, quite frankly, unfair. It's inequality. It's actually producing inequality between men and women with how it portrays them, which is, not what feminism is. It kind of labels their own opinions as a feminist value, which it really isn't. And then also, just in general, it portrays stuff like period and that in not the best manner. I feel like they've dealt with this in a very yeah, very poor manner, I would say. But there we go. You know, maybe that's just me, because of course you got different people, more people. You know, you get different people that are liberal, some more conservative, and that. So deals with it in different ways. However, I will say with this kind of changing society that we're having, you know, with things like gay marriage and, you know, LGBT and that, people are becoming more liberal, more open. And I think with that, the taboo of periods and, you know, feminism itself is starting to become more part of society and culture. And people are dealing with it now and helping each other and talking about it. What I will say though is Buzzfeed definitely needs to stop making some period videos. They've got way too many. 38, bit too much. But there we go. Thank you for listening. There's a very interesting video for me. Maybe Buzzfeed will see it and take some notes. Who knows? Thank you very much. Enjoy yourselves.